Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up on today's show, I'm going to tell you why the Las Vegas Raiders could trade Michael Mayer to the Miami Dolphins. And if you haven't heard me say that yet, you're definitely not subscribed. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are turned on, because anytime NFL news ends up going down, anytime NFL rumors end up going down, I'm going to keep you up to date here on the Raiders Report. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll through all the reasons why I believe that the Silver and Black could end up moving on from tight end Michael Mayer. And then at the very end of today's show, I'm going to give you some trade ideas from our Dolphins guy here at Chat Sports and NFL Insider and my trade as well. Let's go to the first reason, and it's probably the biggest reason. Not only are the Miami Dolphins looking, Miami is also interested in Michael Mayer. So first off, a tweet came out from Tom Pelissero, which I talked about a little bit yesterday on the show, that the Dolphins are now in conversations with multiple teams about acquiring a tight end after sending Jonnu Smith to the Pittsburgh Steelers. One of the things that I mentioned yesterday on the Raiders Report was, if this is a true report, obviously that it is, that you got to keep in mind and you got to keep an eye out for Michael Mayer. Then, a few hours later, Omar Kelly, who does a great job covering the Miami Dolphins down there in the Miami Gardens, Miami has had their eye on Raider tight end Michael Mayer for a while. He had some on and off field challenges with the Raiders, but he's slated to make $1.6 million in 2025 and $2 million in 2026. Dolphins are also shopping for cornerback help. I'll tell you this, if they're also looking for a corner, keep an eye out for DeCamry and Richardson. That's all I'm going to say. But the number one thing that I want you guys to answer from today's show is, should the Raiders, Pete Carroll, John Spytek, should they either trade or keep Michael Mayer? Please let me know you're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. Let's keep it moving here on the show. The next reason why I believe that Mayer could ultimately end up getting dealt, he's been linked to trade rumors all off season long. Now, there's been a lot of NFL teams that have picked up the phone and they've called the Raiders, but also the Silver and Black, I'm not saying have actively been shopping Mayer, but they've at least been answering phone calls around him, as all good NFL teams should do. If the Silver and Black decide to move on from Mayer, they save $1.6 million if traded, and that new team's going to take on that $1.6. Las Vegas eats $943K, which again, not a lot of money, but the fact that you know Brock Bowers is going to be the tight end one for the future. And I also know that Michael Mayer knows this, right? Like, Mayer could have the best year he possibly could imagine. I don't think anybody's going to sit up here and go, Michael Mayer deserves to be the tight end one. Because he has an opportunity to be the tight end one with the Miami Dolphins, and the fact that the Raiders went out and signed two tight ends in free agency, and Ian Thomas, just a blocker. Also, Qadir Ishmael, who was impressive and somebody that I put in my 53-man roster because he's a tight end wide receiver hybrid. They also went out and they signed two to UDFAs. Not so much as a tight end, like going to make the roster, but two good athletes that have at least a little bit of experience that I think could make it maybe as special teams guys. But why would a team be interested in going out and getting Mayer? Why are the Dolphins interested? He was the former 35th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, who's getting ready now to go on his third regime in that many seasons. I thought he was a round one talent. I know a lot of other people around the National Football League also thought the tight end from Notre Dame and Mayer was a round one talent, and he did end up falling. I can remember the report that came out from NFL.com that compared Michael Mayer to Jason Witten. And Jason Witten obviously is one of the greatest tight ends of all time. Mayer might not do a lot of things that are flashy, but if you're looking for a good football player and if you put him in the right system, I think Mayer's going to be able to go out there and shine. And again, I would like to be able to keep him here on our squad. Let's go to the next reason here, and it's the Tom Brady Miami Dolphins relationship. And anytime we talk about trades, free agency, this entire offseason, the key word I've always used is relationship. There has to be some sort of connection. If you didn't know that Tom Brady's got an outstanding relationship with Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, well, I'm going to just reiterate again that Ross's and Brady's relationship, it's such a strong tie, and it goes back to their Michigan days. Also, John Spytek, he's a Michigan man. Literally, the School of Business at the University of Michigan is known as the Ross School of Business. So because of those Michigan ties and also because of the situation that happened, I don't know if y'all remember, a few years ago, but the Dolphins ended up losing that number 1 pick. It's because Stephen Ross, Tom Brady, there was some tampering on a little boat, a yacht. You can go check it out. Brian Flores story. But also, Tom Brady's got a great relationship with the Dolphins' minority owner, Bruce Beal. So you got GM connections, you got owner connections. Like, if the guys that want to make this move happen, I know, GM, head coach, it's important. But the guys that sign all those dudes' checks, if they want to make a deal happen, Tom Brady's got an easy outlet to say, hey, are you interested? And I'm just saying, at this point in the offseason, anything's possible. Let's go to another connection here. It's the tight end coach connection. And this is a small connection, but maybe this is one of those cherry on top type of situations, because if a deal's going to end up going down, certain things just need to happen. And Dolphins tight end coach John Embry worked with John Spytek for 1 year in 2016. Embry was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 3 seasons in total, but just because Embry does have some of those connections that Spytek has, and because Spytek at least worked with him for a year, that's just another one of those simple situations where if you're evaluating bunch of different teams, if you're sitting down and you're at least just picking up the phone and calling, I do think depending on relationships and who you've previously worked with, maybe that's somebody that you call first. Maybe you're more willing to work out a deal because you trust that guy a little bit more. So not only is it the John Spytek tight end coach from the Miami Dolphins, John Embry, then there's one more reason that we got to be able to sit up here and talk about. And I always wonder, if history happened in different ways, would we be even sitting here? Because the Dolphins were interested in Mayer back in the 2023 NFL draft. That has been confirmed by multiple reports today. And also, just go on Google. You can look up Michael Mayer, Miami Dolphins 2023, and you can see how many reports were from their beat reporters that this team liked Mayer at that time. What's interesting about that is, in the 2023 NFL draft, the Dolphins lost that number 1 pick, which would have been number 21 overall. And there's a part of me that wonders, could that have been the team that took Mayer at 21? Could they have gone off the board? Could Mayer gone even a little bit earlier? This is all things that we do not know. But what I do know is the Dolphins, same head coach, same exact tight end coach, and both of those guys were interested in getting Mayer and the 2023 NFL draft, but didn't have a first-round pick to do it. And because they lost that first-round pick, they probably wanted to use that second-round pick and elsewhere and not going with a tight end. Because of all these coaching connections, because the Dolphins have already come out and said that they are interested, I think when you look at what a potential trade could look like, there's a multitude of different ways a deal could end up going down. So coming up here next on the show, I'm going to give you guys 3 Michael Mayer trade ideas that puts him on the Miami Dolphins. And I'm just going to say this again. I would want a really good deal because I do think Mayer's going to have a solid year on this roster with Chip Kelly. They've been using him a lot, but also if you get a good deal, sometimes you got to strike up that hell of a deal. I'm going to tell you what those 3 trade ideas are in just a moment. But to me, people that are watching the Raiders Report in July, that's the definition of a real one. I know Raiders fans always say Raider Nation for life. I like to say, Chat Sports like to say, real one for life. If you're a real one, it means that you show up every single day. You're a part of the Noti Gang. You're a part of the people that watch our live shows Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. If you bleed silver and black, and if you don't give a shit that it's July 1st because you're like, I'm just here for Raiders content, that's the definition of a real one. And if you want this t-shirt over here, if you go to chatsports.com/RO4L. That link's going to be in the comments and in the description of today's show. I promise you, I got you set up. I'll also tell you this. If you go to that link, chatsports.com/RO4L, there is another Raiders shirt that is not pictured up here that I'm telling you, I think you're also going to like very, very much. Again, that's the link down there below. So let's go to the first trade idea that I got here. And this is, again, coming in from our Dolphins guy here at Chat Sports, Nick Roloff. And I asked him this literally when he was in the mayhem of live breaking the whole trade down. So he's like, just give me a mid-round pick. I would like for it to be a little bit lower, but we're going to go 2026 fifth-round pick. The Miami Dolphins get Michael Mayer. Before the reports came out on Omar Kelly, and before the reports came out that the Dolphins are, in fact, interested in Michael Mayer, I would have thought that this still would have been a little bit of a low ball offer, but maybe they could get away with it just simply because Mayer is that tight end number 2. I'll tell you this right now. If this is the offer, I am simply going to hang up the phone. I'm not interested in this deal from the Dolphins. Let's go to another trade here. This one's coming in from one of our NFL hosts here at Chat Sports, and I said, what exactly do you think a Michael Mayer trade could look like? And this is the deal that I ended up getting. The Silver and Black get a 4th and a 6th round pick. It is important to note that the Dolphins have 2 4th round picks this upcoming season. So because of that, I thought, all right, it could be interesting. They also thought that the Raiders would have to put in a 5th. I kind of roll my eyes here a little bit. To me, a 4th and a 6th for Mayer, I think is kind of the value that you could see potentially end up going down. If this is what it would end up costing, though, I'm just going to tell you this 5th round pick to me would be a comp pick, and the Raiders are expected to get 2 5th round comp picks on top of the 5th round pick that they already have. So if you got to move on from one of your 5th rounders, it's okay. I just think that you could do better than even this. To me, though, my trade proposal, I'm going to stick with the one that I did yesterday because this is the value that I do really, truly feel in my heart is enough to get it done for both sides. The Dolphins need a tight end. Miami's been interested in Mayer all the way back since 2023 and all those connections. I think also this is the part that Raiders fans don't want to hear. Michael Mayer, I don't want to say I guarantee if you asked him, but if you asked Mayer, would you want to be the tight end 2 on the Las Vegas Raiders, or would you want to have the opportunity to be the tight end 1 on any team in the NFL? I think he's going to take the opportunity to be anywhere. So, yes, I know fans are going to go, I want a 3rd round pick. I think you'd be lucky to get a 4th rounder because I don't know how many other NFL teams will give you a 4th round pick for Mayer. And also because I think Mayer would want that opportunity, and because he would want that opportunity, that might lower the overall value that the Silver and Black are going to be able to get because every single person knows, including my mother, Brock Bowers is a better tight end for Michael Mayer, and as long as Bowers is on this team, Mayer's got a 0% chance without injury to be the tight end number 1. For that reason, this is what I think the deal would end up being if a Michael Mayer trade ended up happening. Now, if you all made it this far in the video, huge shout out to all of y'all. I know I am going to be live later on today, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are turned on. And, of course, if the Las Vegas Raiders do end up trading Michael Mayer, get ready. We're going to be going live. We're going to be breaking it all down here for you on the Raiders Report.